NFL Week 9 is here, and you're watching the 4 Ps. What are they? Parlays, player props, and predictions. In this video, I have a couple props. I have a same-game parlay, and I have this week's edition of our anytime touchdown scorer parlay going for a third straight winner. We'll dive into that in just one moment. If you are new, my name is Austin from Calling Our Shine. Thanks for tuning in. As always, to recap how we did the previous day betting NFL. 3-1 on Thursday Night Football. This close to a sweep. We had Garrett Wilson to score a touchdown and Devontae Adams, both good plus money. We'll take that. We had a same game parlay there that was like plus 150. We'll take that, another winner. Our only loss, Stroud, under and longest completion. You could have taken any Stroud under. Passing yards, passing attempts, passing completions, passing touchdowns. Only one that lost was our longest completion. Brutal. I hate to see that, but hey, we're going to dive into our picks for Sunday in just one moment. I have two quick notes. The first one is that there's a BetMGM offer out there I want you guys to take advantage of. If you're a new user to BetMGM, here's what you do. You go down below, you click the link at the top of the description, and all you got to do is deposit a little bit of money, and if you bet $10, you get $200 in bonus bets. So pretty cool offer to get you guys going. Win or lose your first bet. You could tail the anytime touchdown parlay. We'll talk about in just a second on BetMGM. And even if it loses, you'll still get $200 in bonus bets. Those details down below. Second note is that we have another video dropping Saturday evening with a bunch more props. I think I got 5 props in that video where we're going to go through them pretty quickly. It's called 5 props in 60 seconds. It's a very fast-paced video. It's a lot of fun. I encourage you to go check out that. But you guys came here for this week's edition of the Anytime Touchdown Parlay. Week 7, boom, that was the winner there. Week 8, we followed up with another winner. And everyone's been asking me, what is Week 9's edition of the Anytime Touchdown Scores? Drum roll, please. Here are the 3 fellas I love to get in the end zone. We start in the 1 o'clock slate with James Cook of the Buffalo Bills. Then we move to the 4 o'clock slate with Kenneth Walker III of the Seattle Seahawks to get into the end zone. And then we wrap it up Sunday Night Football. Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettas, will be grittying in the end zone to take us home on this plus 455 parlay on FanDuel. I wish it was better odds, but hey, I'm going to find my 3 favorite guys I love, and I love the matchups for all 3 of these fellas. So I think they're getting to the end zone. That's my favorite one. I'll also post another one late on Saturday with some long shot with a couple other legs in there for some favorite ones. If you want to go check out my Twitter at @CallOnAirShot, you can definitely find it there. Hey, James, Kenneth, and Justin, do your jobs. But let's dive into our straight bets of this video. And we're going to start with the guy that we started off last week's video with. He was turned green. Hopefully he can do it once again. And it is our man, Nick Chubb. I love his over 48.5 rushing yards, minus 115 on BetMGM, playing for 1 unit. If you don't know what units are, just the standard bankroll management term. A unit is typically about 1 to 2% of your bankroll. So I like that for Nick Chubb here. Now, I won't lie to you, considered laddering him up to like 70 or more. I just have had bad success with the ladders. I swear, every time I take a guy up an alternate line, they don't even hit the regular line. So, hey, if Nick Chubb wants to go get 70, I won't even be mad because he would have cashed this line for us. Now, Chubb, last week we took his rush attempts line. That was, 11.5 or 12.5? He got it done. He had 16 carries for 52 yards. He only played 61% of snaps, so that was up from 36% the week before, and he handled 16 other 21 running back carries, 76% of those carries, which is obviously good. We don't want guys in the backfield getting more carries than Chubb's. Deontay Foreman had a couple carries, but Chubb was dominating the majority of that backfield, and that was against a tough matchup in Baltimore. The Ravens, the second fewest rushing yards in the NFL, second fewest rushing yards per attempt as well, so really tough matchup. Now, turn the page. We have a much better matchup against the Chargers. The Chargers are allowing 4.6 yards per carry, the 10th highest. Their secondary has been really, really elite, so you can actually run on this team. Last 5 running backs with 10 or more rush attempts versus the Chargers, they all had 60 or more yards, and those guys are finishing anywhere between 10, 14, 18, and 19 carries. So it's not like I'm picking out guys that are getting 25 carries or just barely getting to 70 yards. These are guys that are getting 10, 15 carries and easily clearing the line. So look, Chubb, sure, he's coming back from injury. Does he have the same explosiveness we've seen from Chubb in his first, I don't know, how many years has he been in the NFL? 3 or 4? Probably not, but I still think he has opportunities to get the job done. The Chargers also are in the 3rd highest rate of too high coverage. And when you're putting 2 guys back there, the only way to get your guys and get them out of that coverage is to run the football. I mean, you're not going to be able to complete a lot of deep passes, which obviously is ideal here. We don't need the Browns to have quick strike touchdowns. We'd rather longer drives where we get more Chubb attempts. And I really think this is going to be a good spot for Nick Chubb to get going. They have Wyatt Teller back, their elite right guard. I think this is a good spot where Chubb goes over 50 yards. The only way I see this not hitting is if maybe they get down early, but the Chargers haven't been a team that really puts teams away early. So we should get some Chubb rush attempts, hopefully in the first, second, third, and hopefully in the fourth quarter. And it's a competitive game. So I really like Nick Chubb over 48.5 rushing yards. Wouldn't shock me if he gets above 70, 75, maybe even 100 if he can break off a big one, but a much better matchup than last week. And I still think they're buying low on Nick Chubb, obviously the heartbeat of that offense. And obviously with Jameis Winston, they're playing pretty well. I like Nick Chubb's over. My second play, and technically I'm going to say third play, is because they're both on the same player. I'm just playing each of them for only a half unit, and it's both on Joe Burrow. Each of these plays are just a half unit play. It's Joe Burrow under 263.5 passing yards at -110, and then Joe Burrow under 24.5 completions at -130. I wanted to play the completions for a full unit. I kind of went back and forth on which one to play. I like them both. They obviously go hand in hand. The less completions Joe Burrow has typically would lead to less yards. I like both of these, and I'll talk about why. I'm not putting one unit on each of them, only a half unit. So hopefully he goes under both, and we can cash for a total of 1 unit, one, give or take. Obviously, they go together. Now, it's easy to look at this Bengals team and say, this team's not great. What are they, 3-6 or something like the 3-5? But I think they got a good chance here. They're playing the Raiders. They're 7.5-point favorites at home. You can't lose this game. I know the Bengals have not won a game at home this year. You can't lose to the Raiders. And I'm not saying they win this game and it's a mortal lock, but I sure hope they do, because if they're winning, obviously less Joe Burrow completions, hopefully. And this season, in 8 games played, Joe Burrow's under the completions line in 5 of 8, under the yards line in 6 of 8. So obviously the yards is a better hit rate than the completions, but I think they go hand in hand in this spot. And 3 wins this season for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. You look at the numbers: 22 completions to 232 yards, 19 to 208, and 15 to 181. So, and when they've won, he's gone under both in each game. I don't know why my chair keeps going down. It's real fun. But T. Higgins is doubtful, so I don't expect him to be out there. And so that obviously hurts their passing attack. And Zach Moss, also their running back, is doubtful. I would argue losing Zach Moss, probably a good thing. Don't tell him I said that. But Chase Brown, much better than him. Chase Brown's averaging 4.6 yards per carry compared to Zach Moss at 3.3. When you run the ball with Zach Moss, it's basically like you're just moving to 2nd and 10. He's been that bad. And so I think Chase Brown actually could have a pretty good game where they actually have some success on the ground. He's been not great the last few weeks, but he has the potential to go crazy. And I think this could be a spot he does pretty well in. And we've seen in 8 games, the Raiders, they haven't been very competitive in a lot of games. Raiders have only allowed 2 QBs to complete 25 passes and only 1 QB to go over in pass yards. They haven't been a team that give up a lot of pass yards and pass completions. Maybe because their offense is a little suspect. So they've turned the ball over, 10 interceptions total. So look, I'm not confident the Raiders keeping this game competitive. And even if they do, they can have their long drives, just kick a field goal. So maybe the Bengals can just put in some touchdowns. I like both these 2 plays though. So I'll take both of them just for a half unit, under in completions and under in passing yards. If you're like, Austin, my lines are different. I like Burrow completions at 23.5, probably the yards down to probably like 258.5. And then finally, we need another play, and it's going to be the addition of the Lions same game parlay of the weekend. If you don't know what the Lions SGPs are, last year on Lions same game parlays, typically where we pivot to just Lions, maybe sometimes some guys from the other team, because let's be honest, their defense gives up a lot of yards. This week is just Lions. And I think last year they were like 9-1 or 10-1. This year we haven't done as many of them because typically they're involved in our ladder challenges. No ladder challenge this week. Instead, if you want to play this as it, you can. 4 legs. Here we go for 1 unit. Jahmyr Gibbs, 40 rushing yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 40 receiving yards. David Montgomery, 25 rushing yards. And Sam Laporta, 25 receiving yards. That is plus 147 on FanDuel. So 1 unit on this wins you about 1.47. I like that. Now you might be like, Austin, 4 legs, it's too many just to get 1.47. Fine, you don't have to play it. But we smacked these Lions SGPs, and normally they look very similar to this. And you might be like, Austin, that's too many legs. Well, who cares? As long as it turns green at the end of the day, that's all that we care about. And I think this one's going to turn green. Let's talk about the Gibbs and Montgomery first, the rushing attack, and then we'll move to the receivers. Gibbs, 40 rushing yards in every game this season. Montgomery has 25 yards in every game as well. Last year versus Green Bay, Gibbs had 40 and 54 versus them. Montgomery had 121 and 70. Last year, Montgomery obviously was the big guy in this backfield. We're slowly starting to see Gibbs become even more and more of a role. Would you want to give it to Gibbs when he's averaging 6.4 yards per carry? Yeah, probably. He's been that elite. And so while David can sometimes get those late drives where it's like, all right, we need to ground and pound, I mean, Gibbs is that big play guy. And I think if you're going to do anything against the Packers, you probably want to run it against them. I think that's probably their weakness. And so I think Gibbs and Montgomery get their yards, 40 for Gibbs, 25 for Montgomery. As for the receiving, we need Laporta to get 25 and Amon-Ra to get 40. Laporta has 25 plus in all but one game this season. It's been a down year for him with the addition of Jameson Williams. Well, not the addition, but the emergence of Jameson Williams, but he's obviously still suspended. So I like Laporta to get those 25 yards. St. Brown might be the one that you might be a little bit sketched out at. He only has 40 yards in 4 of 7 games. He hasn't been that involved because last week, well, they didn't really have any passing yards because they had a punt return touchdown basically on every single drive. And also, it's just, they didn't have, I mean, it's Jameson Williams, again, a fact, but he's had 40 plus in 5 straight for Green Bay. Last year, Laporta had a 56 and 47 versus Green Bay. I think if this loses, it's because St. Brown doesn't get us 40 receiving yards, but Jordan Love expected to play. I anticipate the Packers to be competitive, not blow out the Lions, but this game to be back and forth, be able to run the ball in all 4 quarters and pass it as well. Might be a little bit of rain here, which could be a little bit sketchy, but look, Amon-Ra and Laporta are not going deep down the field. Those are the guys running the shorter routes where I feel like you can attack the Packers secondary. When you start going deep down the field, they really clamp up on those, but I think Laporta gets 40. I think Gibbs gets 40. I think Laporta gets 25, and David gets 25 as well. It's plus 147. I'll be playing that as my Lions SGP of the weekend. And hopefully we can smack another one. They've been so good to us. We love the Lions. I could argue they're in the COS Hall of Fame as just a whole team. So we love them. Hopefully they come through. So those are my favorite picks in this video. A reminder, Saturday evening at 6 p.m., I will have another video posted, 5 props in 60 seconds. We zoom through some things and we talk about a bunch of different player props. I encourage you to check that out. When it is live, I'll link it over here. Above that, is below that, whatever, it's going to be us talking through every single game on Sunday. Sure, if you're like Austin, what are your favorite money line spreads, totals of the week? Go check out my pick in every single game. Let's have a great weekend. And obviously, if you want to sign up for BetMGM, use the link down below. Bet $10, get $200 in bonus bets. Good luck on all your Sunday wagers. Let's have a day, and let's cash that anytime touchdown parlay for the 3rd straight week. Let's have a day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Go check out one of those videos. Go, 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 go.